Welcome friends to another r/entitled parents video. Today we got a story of a mother stealing from their own kid. But first, a story from Atomic Auburn. Boyfriend's dad is lucky I didn't call the cops. Disclaimer, I'm not advocating for violence. I'm pointing out how lucky my boyfriend's dad is that I don't currently own a firearm because I genuinely thought we were experiencing a home invasion. Two things that are important to know about me. I'm hard of hearing. I'm a survivor of violent crime and subsequent stalking. Context, my boyfriend, 28-year-old male, and his folks, late 60s, own a coffee shop. But because his dad doesn't want to A, listen to anyone else, B, learn how to run a business correctly, or C, pay his son his draw, boyfriend is largely uninvolved and has talked about being bought out. He's still the administrator on the point-of-sale system though, because his dad has no desire to actually learn how it works or go through the process to take over the account. The coffee shop drama could be a whole series of posts about how they did us dirty, perhaps another time. We got to bed really late. Okay, early, it was 4:30 a.m., which normally wouldn't be an issue, as my boyfriend was scheduled for a late shift, and I'm currently taking time off work to figure out a medical issue. Boyfriend turns off his phone volume when he goes to bed, and this is well known to everyone close to us. He is notoriously hard to get a hold of in the mornings. I only hear my phone if it's right under my pillow and the volume and vibration is up. At 6:25 a.m., I start receiving the following text from boyfriend's mom, which I don't hear as I'm past the freak out. 6:25 a.m., the text says, "Sorry to bother you. I need boyfriend to call entitled dad ASAP. His phone is off." 7:35 a.m., entitled dad's going to come wake boyfriend unless he calls us. Just before 8:30, the dogs start barking as someone tried to open the locked bedroom door. I wake up panicked as whoever it is starts banging on the door. It then stops for a few moments and then starts again. No one has said anything at this point. Not me, not boyfriend, not the intruder. I get up and go to the closet for the baseball bat and start kicking myself for thinking we wouldn't need a gun when boyfriend had brought it up in the past. We open the bedroom door to find entitled dad at the end of the hall. He starts yelling about needing the code for the two-factor authentication for the register. I started yelling at entitled dad, and boyfriend, who's just as angry as I am, has me go back into the bedroom. I put my hearing aids in at this point. Entitled dad claims to have been knocking on our front door, but neither dog heard him. Boyfriend gives him the code, tries to explain to him that coming into our house unannounced is a huge violation of trust and boundaries. Not the first major issue. Entitled dad then yells about needing to get the register working. Boyfriend kicks him out, and we think that's the end of it. Not 2 minutes later, I receive another text from their mom, 8:24 a.m. "Please tell boyfriend to send the new code, we still can't get in." Then we hear the clanging of the metal gate and more pounding on the front door. We go answer it, and entitled dad's yelling about needing the new code and he has a copy of our key in hand. He clearly was going to let himself back in. I lost it at this point and yelled, "You can't just let yourself into our house. What the freak is wrong with you?" He gave me more BS about needing to get the register working. I screamed, "My ability to be safe in my own home is more important than your shop." He took particular offense to this, yelling back at me, "So you see me as a threat? Am I a threat to you?" I try explaining that I've had my home broken into before. His response, "Not by me," over and over, and then continues yelling about the shop. I demand the emergency key back, and after yelling a bit more, he shoves it at me. Boyfriend has had enough and yells at me to go back to the bedroom. He'll handle it. I do because at this point, I'm on the edge of a panic attack. Through the closed bedroom door, I hear more yelling, and after a bit, the door slammed. Boyfriend called his mom, saying that entitled dad needed to apologize and that this behavior wasn't acceptable. She asked him, what does he need to apologize for? Boyfriend tells her, and she's mortified. I then get this text from her, 9:08 a.m. "I'm sorry to have bothered you so much today, and sorry entitled dad made such a scene." I haven't responded. This man clearly doesn't understand boundaries, doesn't think he needs to be held accountable for anything, and felt entitled to just barge into our house and demand his son fix a tech issue. And for the record, yes, I do in fact see him as a threat now. Both of boyfriend's parents know about my severe PTSD. We know he won't apologize because he genuinely doesn't see a problem with his behavior. It's time for some serious boundaries, and a security system. Would you say that you're the kind of person that's overly cautious about home security? Whether it's making sure that you have ample ways to lock the door, or a security system, ring cameras, whatever. Do you go intentionally overboard, or do you have maybe a modest setup? Let me know about you guys down in the comments below. Our next story is from Jedi Bo, Jedi Prime 29. Lady, back off my McDonald's. So this started for me maybe 4 years ago, but I think she's been doing this for much longer, and I still see this lady as she never learns, and security is too freaking slow. At a mall near my house, there's a McDonald's with a poor design flaw. It has an exit in the restaurant and not the typical mall exit, so this lady is a food thief. To be honest, I think food should be free, and I can understand those who struggle to buy food, but this lady is the exact opposite. She pulls up in a nice car and has like a Louis or Chanel handbag. She'll slink in and kinda join the line. In this McJerks, you can see all the way to the back, so you can see them preparing orders. How the thief picks her food, this entitled parent will sit there and wait. No order, no nothing. People in the mall are oblivious and won't come to the counter right away, so this lady's figured out the sweet spot, aka how to get free food. She'll watch until somebody orders a kid's meal, and you can see the employee load it up and walk up. Hey, I got insert number here. Entitled parent will say, yep, that's me, and she'll show a blank piece of paper. The McJerks employees aren't paid enough for this BS, so they usually don't notice. Then the fireworks start. She goes for the bag and once got away with it. When the real person comes up, the employee looks puzzled and the customer freaks out. And thus us customers knew, crap thief, OP will remember this. How she got caught again. I was coming home from school, hungry as freak and waiting for my food. No kids meal, so I don't know why she decided to screw with me. There's a lot of food stealers in this mall, but darn it, I was hungry. I order and wait. She arrives and they don't notice. My paranoid butt does. She waits and then they call my order, a hamburger with a strawberry milkshake. As I'm pushing through the oblivious, I'm waiting for food, but I don't know about actually paying attention, so I'll block up the way, people. She goes, hi, thanks, my kids will love this. Finally, I say, no, sorry, there must be a mistake. Maybe I'm wrong, but this is my order. See, this is my receipt. And I show it. Entitled parent looks nervous. They say, no, you're mistaken, this is mine. I paid for it already and I don't appreciate this. The employee says, okay, can I please see both of your receipts? Maybe there's a mix-up. Entitled parent begins making up BS about how she can't find it. Security rolls up and says, is there a problem here? Notices the entitled parent and says, miss, you can't be here. You're banned from the mall. You need to leave. They say, no, this is for my kid. I paid for it. I couldn't believe it. Like, what the freak, lady? I had the receipt. She didn't. She pulled out a small, crusty-looking receipt. It was for Walmart. The security says, entitled parent, you know you're not allowed in here. This is your second warning. Now you can either leave or we'll call the police. Entitled parent stormed out. I got my stuff and left at the same time because I was done. She was tugging away a small kid into a nice freaking car. Even if she wasn't rich, though it was a very nice car, I don't understand why she couldn't pay the $8 for what I paid. Entitled people are so freaking stupid, and this was tame too, but fishy. I call her an entitled parent because she steals crap for her kid, but I think a stealer like that would eat the stuff themselves and save nothing. I saw her today, though she was kicked out right away, which made me remember. I think it's really weird how a lot of people who usually are very well off, like this person who has a very nice car, somehow have like one of the higher occurrences of being some of these people that go around being these serial stealers over things that don't even cost that much. Like a lot of these people who have enough money or inherited wealth or whatever, a lot of times they'll be the ones that go around stealing the little $5 or less items or finding ways to cheat to save a couple bucks here and there. It's like, why even be concerned about that? It's definitely some like hardwired psychology thing. Our next story is from Paisley Lamone's. Mother used to steal from me and say she was just admiring when caught. Today I unlocked an old memory from when I was between 15 to 19. Important for context, in my country, from time to time, a new special coin is made. It has the same value as the others, and the only reason it's special is because of something engraved in it. It can be an animal or an important person. People like to collect them just because they're pretty, and others for a formal collection. This has been going since the 2000s. Now the memory, my best friend's aunt worked at the bank where these coins were ordered, and because of that she had the same coins but laminated. She gave us one every time a new one came out, so I had a pretty big collection of those. You could get an album to store them, but I wasn't into that much, so I had them stored, dreaming of a time when they would be worth a lot. Currently, at that time, they were worth 40 times. Well, that was the time I used to live with my parents. I don't have a great history with them, but they gave me a free roof and food until I moved. Free in monetary terms, they were jerks. I remember I traveled for a month and came back to my room evidently fully searched. I used to smoke a lot of pot, so I figured she was searching for that. I didn't care as I didn't cover it. Most of my father's family side are potheads, but she doesn't know. Weeks later, I was searching for something in her room, like a normal human being, without destroying and leaving everything in shambles. Then I stumbled upon some laminated coins. I went back to my room and searched mine where I stored them. Nothing. I had like 20 or more. I only found 4 or 5 in the drawer. When confronted, she said she was only looking at them and wanted my father to see them. I know it was BS, but what else can I do? I took what was left and hid them. What did she do with the rest? I'll never know. I don't know if she sold them or used them as gifts. Maybe she opened them and felt dumb? I just know that years later, living on my own, having my own free life, I noticed I didn't have the other 4 or 5 laminated coins. My mother had stole them again. Honestly, I just can't imagine rifling through your own kid's stuff to try to find something that you can take for your own and try to profit off of. The story kind of reminds me though of those quarters that had the states on the back of them back in the 2000s. I remember back in the 2000s, my mom had bought these big map-sized folders of the United States that had circles cut out over the states, and you could actually pop the quarters into every single state. I don't think we ever actually completed one, but I thought it was always kind of cool. This next story is from Little Shark 219. How do I tell my mother I want my own bank account so I can move out? Getting a job soon and I want to save money so I can move out, but my overbearing mother has other plans. My 2 older sisters have become part of her hive mind, and both of their earnings go directly to her account, so they can all share the money. We're really poor, not so poor that we can't get by every month, but still. We, my mother, me and my 2 older sisters, little brother, and cat, all live in the same apartment. My mom desperately wants to buy a house so we can all live together. What I desperately want is to move out from my mega religious family so I can live my own life. But I can't even attend real-life college classes because the city's an hour away by bus, and my mother wouldn't let any of us do that in a million years. One of the classes I need to pursue my major only has 1 online course available, and it's full. If I tell my mom about it, she just gets angry at me saying, "You should have applied earlier then." She always says that she would do anything for my education, and then does stuff like this. College students ride hour-long buses all the time to their classes. But she probably won't believe that because that's the realm outside of her small mind. If I ask her and my 2 older sisters, they'll tear me to shreds saying, "Since when do you care so much about your education?" I'm not doing the best I can with my education because at this point I've lost real motivation. The only future I imagine with myself is away from my family. But that future is so impossible if I can't save up my own money. I don't want to end up like my older sister. She studied so hard and graduated from a great college with the best grades in order to become a doctor. But for the past 3 years, she's been doing nothing for that dream because she has to help my mom make money in order to take care of us. She desperately wants to live on her own too, but she's held down by my mom, who would faint at the thought of any of her children living alone or with other people, especially non-Muslim people. If I move out, I wouldn't be her responsibility anymore. I shouldn't be her responsibility. I'm 19, which isn't that old, but they've been treating me the same since I was 13, so it doesn't matter how old I get. Also, the reason why I'm scared of standing up to them is because I feel like I don't deserve it. I was never the best kid, never really got good grades, fought often with parents, was slightly a troublemaker in middle school, and by that I mean I hung out with real troublemakers but never did anything myself. But my mom and older sisters act like I was the worst kid in school. They also guilt trip by saying they sacrificed so much for me, which is true. My mom protected us often from our abusive father. They also say because I was a bad kid, I abused them, which I also feel is true. I don't know why they want me to stay so bad though, because I'm still a bad kid in their eyes. I'm not the best I used to be as a person either. I used to read and draw a lot, but I don't do that as much anymore. I don't even keep my room or myself clean regularly anymore. Yeah, I know I'm gross for showering slightly less regularly than a normal person, but I lost all motivation to do practically anything because I can't get the future I want. I want to stand up to them. I want my own bank account. I want my own room. I want my own life. The hive mind of my mother and 2 older sisters is really scary because they know exactly how to tear into me. I'm scared they might kick me out because I have nothing. How do I hide my guilt, sadness, and anger to get what I need? So the common link here is OP wants to move out and they're afraid of getting kicked out. I would say, judging off of what OP said here, they're not likely to just go and kick OP out willy-nilly. I would say for OP to just go ahead and sign up for their class that they need and try to focus on their education as much as they can while also trying not to rock the boat as much as possible. They honestly might make it really hard on OP while they're going and taking those classes, but I would say just keep your mindset on the end goal of succeeding in your class, finding a job that can support yourself, and focus on getting yourself out of that situation. Our next story is from Cherry is Back, entitled Mom Yells at My Kid for Talking Like a Commie. A bit of background, I'm a first-generation Russian American. I've always lived in America, and I speak English as my primary language. My husband, on the other hand, only relocated from Moscow about 6 years ago, and speaks enough English to get by in most situations. We decided to raise our kids primarily speaking Russian, both so they can take part in cultural and religious celebrations, and so they can talk to family back home. Bilingualism is also a great skill to have as an adult, so it felt like the right choice to make. They speak English too, obviously. Now for the conflict. My boys have always been involved in activities. As stereotypical as it is, they've both enrolled in dance classes. They enjoy doing it, so I don't feel bad. But the glares from the other moms when I'm bringing them to lessons every Thursday night aren't great. A few weeks ago, their class had a little recital for all the parents. All the kids did really well. Nobody fell over and everyone had their costumes on right. The next day, there was a little picnic in a local park for all the kids to celebrate how well they did. The dads were making the food while the moms watched their kids. I was doing the same thing, sitting on a bench near the playground, holding my baby and making sure my kids don't cause problems. They're running along the little suspension bridge linking 2 structures, laughing and yelling to each other. I thought nothing of it, they were having fun. I was listening, but only to make sure they didn't say anything rude. Apparently, I'm not the only one who heard them. A set of twins is playing under the structure, which wouldn't be a problem generally, but these kids make me believe in the evil twin theory. One is a little doll, and the other one would probably light your car on fire because you wouldn't let them use your phone. Their mom is entitled mother. Entitled twin goes up to her and points to my son. I had no idea what she was saying. I figured probably just complaining about the gravel falling on them from the bridge. The kid walks away, and I look down at my baby to adjust her little hat when the woman goes up to the little bridge. If she was just going to tell them to be more careful because there's people under there that didn't want rocks falling on them, that would have been fine. Instead, I hear her calling, trying to talk to him. But like with most 5-year-olds, he had far more interest in going back to play instead of talking to a stranger. Entitled mother keeps trying to get his attention, and when that doesn't work, she just yells, "We're in America, we won, stop talking like a commie." Hearing that shocked me out of whatever I was thinking about, and like any normal person, I went over there trying to use all my self-control to not slap her. Honestly, all the kids there are probably the only thing that stopped me. I was just going to collect my kids and go home, maybe get the tray of cupcakes I brought. But no, anything with entitled mother could never be that simple. As I'm walking away, she offhandedly says, "Teach your brat some manners, Red. He needs to learn some respect. Entitled twin doesn't deserve to have to hear that. All the other kids were just being nice." Meanwhile, the good twin is just sitting there terrified and not sure what to do. I knew if I stayed, I was going to say or do something I would regret. and that might possibly put me in a weekend jail. I spit a few insults at her and threw my kids in the car, holding on to the steering wheel so tight my fingers went white. My husband say people like her are just part of life. He's far more mature than I am. I'm considering reciting parts of old literature next time I see her, if I didn't think it would get the windows of my car broken out. Yes, I'm that petty. What I love is the fact that this lady was exceptionally dumb. Like impressively dumb. I would love to see this lady at the apex of their frustration, sit them down, make them look me in the eyes and say, "What did we win?" Just say, no, go ahead. What did we win? If any of your answers are the world wars, you need to go back to school. And they're still patently wrong if they say the Cold War. It wasn't even a proper war. And there wasn't even a loser. Our next story is from Wooded Bird, entitled Mother Tried to Take Utility Knife I Just Bought. I never expected to post here, but sometimes things happen unexpectedly. Recently I bought a new flat ground utility knife for crafts and carving. Anyway, this purchase didn't go unscathed because while I was walking out, I felt someone clear their voice. The entitled mother says, "Ahem." I realized by the sound that it was directed at someone, so I turned around. She says, "Yes, you, what are you doing with a knife? Aren't you too young?" I'm 17, but I have the face of a young kid, so I realized the misunderstanding. I said, "Sorry ma'am, I'm 17 and I'm allowed to purchase this knife. Sorry for the..." She says, "I'm not stupid, hand me the knife before I call security." I was honestly surprised on the quick escalation of the situation, as I'm not a master at talking, but even then it's a surprise. I say, "I'm sorry?" She says, "Give me the knife, you are too young." I say, "I mean, you can check with the workers, I even showed them my ID." She says, "You're lying," then runs off and I walk away. Yet somehow I got stopped almost immediately. A security guard says, "Wait, sir." I say, "Is everything all right?" The entitled mother says, "That's him, I caught him shoplifting." I remain calm and go into my pocket and pull out a receipt. The security guard notices the receipt and says, "Can I see that?" I hand him the receipt and he stares at it for a second, then says, "Can I see the knife?" I hand them the knife in the packaging. The guard looks at the receipt details and the knife. The security says, "Checks out, you're free to go." A loud screeching came from behind him. He's lying. An employee then walks up recognizing the woman and says, "Ma'am, you're not supposed to be here." She says, "Why?" The employee says, "You're banned from the store." Surprisingly, the entitled mother walks away, not even with a last word, just a long sigh and a huff. Honestly, I kind of wonder if a lady like that just has some kind of issue. I really don't mean that with any bad intention. It's just for somebody to keep showing up to the point where they get banned from the store like this and harassing customers and policing people. It just seems like really odd behavior for somebody to undertake. Our next story is from Marsh95. Entitled Mother thinks that because they birthed my niece, they can take the majority of her money. My sister, 38, has 3 kids. Her eldest, 18-year-old female, moved out a few months ago and got her own place. The other 2 kids still live with my sister and her partner. My niece has been trying her best since she moved out. She had a partner and a job lined up, but everything went to crap. Her partner broke up with her and she had a breakdown, and now she's not got that job and is on the sick because her depression took over. My niece has to use my sister's bank account to get her benefits paid into because she doesn't have the appropriate identification to open her own bank account. Even though she gave my sister the money to buy her a provisional license about 2 years ago, but my sister never sent it off and spent the money on other things and never paid my niece back. Since my niece started getting her money paid into my sister's account, money's been going missing. My niece only gets a couple £100 each month to live on and is already struggling. We try and help her as much as we can, but there's only so much we can do. But the other week, 50 British pounds went missing out of my niece's money. And my sister, when confronted, insisted that it was because my niece spent it. Her exact words were, "It's quids you spent here and there, it adds up." We all know that's not the case, and that my sister stole it, but we can't prove it. Another one was when 120 pounds went for my niece's rent money, and my sister hasn't paid my niece that back. It's getting to a point where I'm considering seeking legal advice because this cannot continue. Yesterday, my niece got a phone call off my sister and my sister was demanding that my niece owed her hundreds of pounds and that she wants it back ASAP in the form of 100 or more pounds each time my niece gets paid. To top this all off, my sister and her partner have well-paid jobs and easily get over $2,000 a month, and yet they're taking as much as they can off my niece. It's unfair. I don't know what to do. I've told my niece to get her identification when she gets paid, and as soon as it comes, to open up her own bank. I've even offered my second bank account for her to use in the meantime. I hope she uses it because my sister can't keep getting away with it. I know this isn't the most interesting thing on here, but I needed to vent, and my sister is an entitled parent. Does anybody else think that OP should go and offer themselves to have a different account? I mean, if anything, I think OP should volunteer to take their niece down to the bank and get the niece their own bank account. They're 18 years old, there's no reason they have to use the sister's bank account. If the appropriate identification is the issue, I would say that OP should work with their niece to at least get a state ID, even if it's not a provisional license. And our final story of the day is from an anonymous poster. Am I the jerk for yelling and grabbing my cousin's neck after he did the unthinkable to my cousin? This all started 7 years ago at my 13th birthday. You see, my dad's side of the family lives in another state, except my grandparents and my favorite cousins. We live in the same state, and this birthday we were planning to see my dad's side of the family. I was excited to see my cousins, twins. I'd already seen some of them, but I was super excited. After a 6-hour-long car ride with 5 people on board, we finally arrived, and I got to meet them. My extended family was amazing. I really liked them, and we talked and enjoyed ourselves. Now, the next day, I as always woke up early and I sat at the table, just doing nothing. Then one of my aunts came and told me a few things about one of my uncles. 1, they were greedy and super entitled. 2, be sure to stay away from them because you don't want to talk to them. 3, their kid is terrible, and their wife is an absolute Karen and a witch. After hearing all that, I had one hope. Even though they sound horrible, I at least hoped the dad would be respectable and a man of his word. Nope, when they came along, I instantly hated them. Think of my uncle as gangsta SpongeBob and their kid as a demon. First, my uncle sat on the couch and gave me $250 and said, "Take it." I was shocked and angry. How can they do that? That's unbelievable. My uncle won the lottery twice and had an insane amount of money. After he went to the bathroom, I went to my aunt's table and put the money on the table and said, "I don't want this man's money." Fast forward a few hours, all the adults were doing something outside, only my dad was here, and he was sleeping. Then my cousin, let's call her A, came crying with a few bruises on her body, and then the demon came. He slapped her back and butt and called her an S-word. I got up enraged. I was gonna punch them, but I realized it would be too much. So I let go of my hand and grabbed his neck instead and pinned him to the ground. And I started yelling at them with every single curse word I know. My dad and family came rushing, and my dad was furious at me, of course. Then I explained it to them, and they were not happy. But my uncle came and started yelling at me, so I yelled at him, and they left. I know I didn't do a good thing, but I couldn't handle it as my favorite cousin getting treated like she was an object, and treated like this, I couldn't handle it. But wait, my friends, cause this ain't over yet. Now 5 years later at my 18th birthday party, my extended family came to our state just for my birthday and some sightseeing. Now for my birthday, I didn't want a car or something big, I just talked about the things I liked and enjoyed, and they got the hint. And some couldn't get a birthday present, so they gave me money instead, but I was happy. Until my bratty cousin and his uncle came to my party. Now let me say this, the only reason my extended family still accepts my uncle is because they're a bit poor, and he's got some money to spare. So I put all my presents and money in one place and enjoyed myself now. Demon, that greedy kid, stole all my birthday money, thrashed the place, and acted like a complete jerk. I just told him to stop, but then he touched my mom's chest, my cousin's butt, shoved my female cousins to the ground, and my breaking point, kicked and punched and did some things to my grandma that was sitting. Now, I would have done something, but the apartment was crowded, and by the time I reached him, he had already done these things, and I pinned him to the ground and punched him hard. My family also said enough and just lifted them off the ground and literally threw them out. And me punching that demon was incredibly satisfying. Now, 2 years later, I asked my extended family how they were doing, and they said he got into debt and gambling, losing all his lottery money and being homeless. He begged them to stay with them, but they just refused. And then I started laughing because that was pretty good to hear. I'm only writing this now because I went drinking for the first time and got a bit drunk. Then I told the story to my friends, and they told me to post it on Reddit. Life is good, revenge is cold, but remember, karma is always a witch. I mean, frankly, I think them losing all of their money and basically having to live on the streets with their family turning their backs on them is light for the kind of behavior that this guy was unabashedly displaying. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. Now, if you want to hear another entitled parent story that was way crazier than any of the ones in this video, click on that left video. Or if you missed my latest video, check out the one on the right. That said, I'll see you all next time with some more stories.